Black Dog After Dark is recorded in a video store by people who have been drinking. We swear a lot, and there's spoilers. It's not safe for work, unless you work in a video store and have also been drinking.
You know what we used to call, you call KFC in the Maritimes? Greasy Seagull.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
I know that, Mr. Man. They also call them cereals. I'm not stupid, you know.
The story is ludicrous. You can imagine where it goes from here.
Fixes the cable.
April Fool.
Join 8 privileged guests who are just dying to have fun. And everyone is having such a good time. It's scary. April Fool's Day. Get ready to party till you drop. Rated R.
Well, okay, we chose this movie because it's
Should we
it's one of these holiday movies.
Should we introduce the podcast first?
Okay, it is After Dark. It is Black Dog Video, which means it is Black Dog Video After Dark.
We are in a video store.
Yes, in Vancouver.
I usually say it's like the dark, dank bowels of the video store.
I don't know why you say that.
I don't know, because it was dark and and sometimes it's dank.
It's a little bit dank. If you got rid of that crusty old water heater that doesn't even work.
You mean Alex?
Yes. Anyway, the dark, dank bowels of
well, they're more
Alex.
It's more of like a frozen scrotum of the commercial drive right now. A frotum because it's cold.
A scrogert. Oh wait, that doesn't work
because it's not very pleasant out. But we're here in the video store. It's April Fool's or April 1st.
This is pre-recorded.
This is April Fool's. We're actually recording this on February 28th.
Yes.
6th.
I like that you're looking. I like that you're looking actually at the calendar and you still got it wrong.
February 26th, whatever. But this will drop hopefully on or near April Fool's Day.
Mm.
Anyways, let's talk about the movie at hand here,
which is
April Fool's Day, 1986, directed by Fred Walton.
Better known for the director as When a Stranger Calls and When a Stranger Calls Back Again because he didn't get through the first time.
Is that actually the sequel?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. Well, I made the last part up.
Oh.
Yeah, but it is When a Stranger Calls Back Again or something. Isn't that something like that?
When a Stranger Calls Again.
But not Back Again? Wrong number? No. Nope. Dial tone?
Stepford Husbands. I'm assuming that's a sequel to Stepford Wives.
Yeah, which didn't really fly.
And I Saw What You Did.
It wasn't what...
ironically, no one saw that movie. But
is that what it's called? I Saw What You Did.
It's a movie called.
I Saw What You Did, or I Know What You Did Last Summer.
No, I Saw What You Did. So nothing really.
Yes, except for April Fool's Day.
Except for April Fool's Day. This was my pick, so I guess I'll kick it off.
Kick it off. Should we introduce ourselves? Or do people know who we are?
Right. I am Dylan Reimer, comedian and sometimes employee here of Black Dog Video, and to my left is...
I'm Alex Chisholm. I'm Black Dog employee and programmer at the Rio Theater just down the street.
I'm Darren Gay. I own this relatively shoddy establishment that's lurching into the freezing scrotum of a store.
Yes,
that's a condition, and teenagers in the Maritimes used to refer to it as raisin sack.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Oh, your balls are actually blue.
Tiny little blue.
Sack.
Yeah, we got a lot of weird maritime. Was a pensioner's leg?
Yeah.
The raisin sack.
How are they even part of our country?
Yeah, I know.
They joined late too. We shouldn't have let them in.
Shouldn't have let them in.
They were begging. Can we be part of Canada? No.
Who are you? Raisin sacks.
So, April Fool's Day, I saw this. This is the first horror movie that I ever saw in a theater. I guess I was about 10 or 11.
Are you putting a horror movie in quotation marks as you do that? Air quotes?
No, this was advertised as a horror movie, and when my mom took me to see it,
Your mom took you to see a horror movie?
Yeah, well, it was
when you're 8?
No, I wasn't 8. I was 11.
Oh,
but I was 10 or 11, and it was like a quote unquote family outing. And we never did this, so it was very exciting because I was like, oh wow, this is going to be like something else. So
for the next outing, you went and saw like a bullfight or maybe like a public execution. Is that what you guys did for your family outing?
No, we went and saw Back to the Future.
Okay, so movies were your thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Oh,
that's a whole lot of Biff.
I know you had Tom Wilson in both. Anyways, if you like Tom Wilson,
and who doesn't like Tom Wilson?
Anyone who doesn't
especially like him on Freaks and Geeks.
He's great in Freaks and Geeks. I was supposed to open for him in because he's a stand-up. I was supposed to open for him in Edmonton, and there was 1 week that I could do the show, and they called me up and said, "Do you want to open for Tom Wilson?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely." And then they said, 2 conditions. Number 1. Don't mention Biff. Do not bring up Back to the Future. He absolutely hates that. And 2, you have to be super clean because he is a very, very Christian individual.
Oh, so you couldn't work blue.
April Fool's Day?
They didn't.
Had you met him, would you brought up April Fool's Day?
Whatever you do, don't mention April Fool's Day.
I'd forgotten that he was even in April Fool's Day because I hadn't seen it since 1986. So I turned down the gig, by the way, because I was like, there's no way I can go 20 minutes without saying the word fuck or making fun of Jesus or talking about Back to the Future, even if Tom Wilson isn't in the room.
It's like working at the video store. That's the same thing.
Kind of, yes.
You can't do any of that.
And why would
that's why you quit the video store. You were outraged.
Did I quit?
You didn't get to say fuck to customers. You don't get to make fun of Jesus to people who rent
he does that all the time.
But I can talk about Back to the Future. Anywho, so
you just can't talk about Forrest
I was 11 years old. I went to see this movie. Are we going to talk about the ending right off the bat? Okay.
No, we can't talk about the ending until we get to the ending. And even then, I'm not sure if we should talk about the ending.
Okay, right. So I will say this then. Mm-hmm. It was my first quote-unquote horror movie experience, and I was totally delightfully scared all the way through. It was very grown up. They were talking about sex, and they were drinking champagne.
Beer and
it was
walking in the woods.
And they all seemed. I remember my memories of this is that it's a much more sophisticated movie than it turned out to be upon second viewing. But literally have not seen this movie since I was 11. Yeah. I'm sure it's been on TV and I've missed it.
I'm sure Gumby was sophisticated to you when you were 11.
Well, Pingu. Gumby was a. Never mind.
The blockheads?
I keep wanting to say these awful words that I then have to delete. So I'm just pre-deleting.
Tom Wilson's not listening to this, so you can work a little blue tonight.
No, it's the hipsters. There's certain words I want to use I'm not allowed to use anymore. Anyways, are
you self-censoring yourself?
I am self-censoring.
Wow.
Not only in the shop but in life.
Wow, this is a first.
I found myself in Toronto on tour, and whenever I go to other cities, I always pop into their video stores and see if they have any content that we don't have.
Right, which they always do.
And
we have stuff they don't have as well.
I came across April Fool's Day.
Right.
I made a quick text to Alex, who was like, "Nope, we don't have it." So I bought it back here from Toronto, and I looked forward to this podcast because I deliberately have not watched this movie for the last 6 months.
Awesome,
specifically for this podcast.
Oh, cool!
Yes.
I like your commitment.
So do I.
Yeah,
thank you.
You're welcome,
Alex. Have you seen this before?
I had seen it before. It was one of those sort of half-hearted viewings, though, and that doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the movie. I remember when it came out first and foremost because of the awesome poster art. It
is a great poster.
It's a woman facing a dinner table full of her friends, and she's holding a weapon, and her ponytail is a noose.
Is she holding a weapon at the same time?
I think she is holding a weapon. I could be wrong, but the image I remember anyway is there's a woman with her back to the camera in the poster. She's facing a dinner table full of the cast of the movie, and her ponytail is in a noose. And I actually had the poster before I even saw it.
I was going to say you had the ponytail.
There was a video. Yes.
I
had the rat tail. The rat tail. But the movie came out. Oh, the poster was cool.
Sorry, one more thing about the poster. If I'm not mistaken, her fingers are crossed as well.
I don't remember.
Let's get some details.
I don't remember that, but it was also the original VHS cover.
Which kind of gives a lot away there.
It really does. It's all in the poster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anyways.
Because then, which brings to mind, of course, Loverboy's Get Lucky album, the fingers crossed behind the red leather pants. Anyway.
You have those pants, don't you?
I do have those pants.
The actual Mike Reno pants. You bought them
in
the yard sale.
I bought them, I did. And I modeled them on the album cover.
Yeah, you have that.
Is that you on the album cover?
That's me on the album cover.
I would not have known that.
You still have that ass, too.
Way to go. Way to keep that nice,
I'm
tight
looking
ass.
At it right now. And you're wearing those red leather pants.
I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, the movie came out. I had the poster before I actually saw the movie because there was a video store in my hometown, we used to just grab posters from them. They would sell them or whatever.
Did they know you were taking them?
They did know we were taking them. We weren't
good.
stealing posters. It was like a black bin
right.
of posters or whatever, which they're not even really technically supposed to sell. But I had one down in this the basement of my parents' house's basement where me and friends used to hang out. I had it on the wall. But anyway, I saw the movie finally. I remember it came out, and it looked like a straight up horror slasher in the Friday the 13th
this is the height of slasher era.
That's right, the height of the slasher era. And I remember, though, a bunch of us watching it on video, but it was, when I said half-hearted viewing, it was like more like a teen party.
Were you eating a sandwich or something while you were watching it?
No, but probably drinking beers.
Right.
And the movie, like a bunch of us were watching it, but talking through it and stuff. It just happened to be on while people were hanging out. But I remember, like, you know, us cheering on the various gruesome scenes and stuff like that. But, you know, we didn't really appreciate the whole film. But I remember watching it at the time and thinking it was cool. But I didn't, there was a lot I didn't remember about it because it was, you know, it wasn't so much we were getting together to watch a movie. It was a long time ago, but it was basically teens hanging out, let's put on a movie, and everyone just kept kind of yakking.
Lousy teens.
But today I watched it again for the second time, all these years later. I sat down and watched it this afternoon.
Oh, Mr. Darren, sir.
I remember watching it a long time ago. I don't remember anything about it, and I watched it again on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's. I don't remember anything about it. I went through I went through all the slasher films back in the day because I was a big fan.
And so you decided to dress as the cranky ferryman.
I didn't realize it was
before you came down here tonight. In honor,
it's cold out.
You are dressed as that cranky ferryman.
There will be photos up on the website as the cranky ferryman.
The cranky ferryman.
Yeah.
Also, ill-fated henchmen in a movie, like you'd be like,
Spider-Man.
Darren, get him, and you run over it.
And always ill-fated though, right? Yes. Yeah, always meet an untimely end.
Yeah, well, henchmen rarely get away. Like they don't make it to retirement.
You know, I've never understood that about henchmen in movies. Like, you know, like if you're like you're a henchman. And things are going south. You say the boss has been killed.
Yeah.
Why do the henchmen keep fighting? Why don't they just go home?
No, that's the thing is they're always cowards.
No, they'll fight to the end of their death.
I just watched every James Bond movie in sequence. And invariably, this is just the other year, and invariably when shit starts blowing up in the volcano warehouse that they all work in,
yeah, of course
they just all run away. None of them are loyal to Blofeld.
Okay, another thing, henchmen. Say something happened and the boss wasn't happy. The boss always murders one of the henchmen.
Yeah.
Who's going to continue to work for the boss that is going to maybe randomly murder the employees?
It's the same, you know.
That's crazy.
It's the same with the mafia or Amazon.
Well, the mafia...
You just keep working there.
Until you're dead.
Yeah, that's the idea.
But at least in the mafia, they're family or something, so your family...
That makes it worse. That was your family killing you.
Fucking Amazon.
I have a lot to say on this, but we should probably keep things moving for the sake of my sanity when I edit this. So,
you know, I watched this movie on Sunday night after I watched a movie award show, and I had a bunch of beers, and I took a bunch of notes, and I looked at my notes, and I'm going to struggle through this because they don't make any sense to me.
I'm surprised you have any notes, to be
I've
perfectly
got 5
honest.
pages of notes that
There's not much to write about this movie, which surprised me.
The first thing that I have written is bullshit Irish name. What does that mean? Does anyone can tell me what that means? Like bullshit Irish
Muffy
name.
St. John?
Muffy St. John?
Well, I guess that's one of the characters' names.
Oh, okay. So we're going to fill all my blanks in throughout this movie.
And there's one guy called Chet.
Oh, I have the names written down here because you
were wasted and asleep when you wrote this. Look at that. Who could read that? You have
names.
Atrocious handwriting.
Buffy, Muffy, Biff, Chaz, Kit.
Biff isn't actually...
Blob, Spaz, Duke Nukem, Pills, Dink, and Eeyore.
No. Spaz, that's a character in
That's
Meatballs.
your shopping list.
Also,
Spaz is a word. Spaz is a word. I was actually going to mention that. Later in the movie, someone says... he says, like, don't spaz out on me. I didn't spaz out, is what one person says.
That was an 80s thing.
She said she spazzed out and dropped the flashlight. I spazzed out too.
Yeah, but the thing is, she didn't spaz out. She just dropped the... That's at the scene at the well.
Right.
And she's like... She's kind of leaning over. She's not really looking when she's shining a flashlight into a well, and then she accidentally drops it.
So she has to go get the flashlight out of the well.
And then the dude is like, "Oh, you dropped the flashlight," and she's like, okay, fine, I spazzed out. I'm like, you totally did not spaz out. You
just dropped the flashlight like an idiot.
That's the 80s, though.
Yeah.
Everything was spazzing out.
Yeah, I remember you like spazzing out.
Yeah, and I don't even know what spazzing out
I don't either.
back then was called. Anyway, so the movie starts. How does it start? On the dock.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people going to an island for a party.
Not yet. Actually, there is a scene before this. It's where we meet Muffy.
Right.
Muffy St. John.
Who played by the lovely Deborah Foreman of Valley Girl fame.
Oh.
Yes, who I've always had a crush on since Valley Girl.
I remember thinking.
Well, back then, I don't have a crush on her anymore because I'm an old man now. But back in the day,
me with a spoon, Darren.
Okay.
Like totally.
Mm.
I
love Valley
I watched
Girl.
this movie and I kind of wondered if she was even an actor because I thought she was very pretty.
Right.
I didn't find her. Well, but then again, the thing with this movie is it seemed like they didn't have a script. It seems like they had an idea and a plot, and then the actors just kind of said stuff to make their individual scenes move into the next scene. And so maybe that's why I think what's her name who played Muffy wasn't a great actor. Is it just seemed a little. It seemed improvised. This movie, it was weird.
Well,
but anyways, when we see Muffy,
at the beginning, you don't really know that there's some sort of party going on, but you don't know exactly what.
You don't know anyone's relationships.
Everyone's happy to be hanging, and they're all a bunch of jerks.
They are all a bunch of. They're rich assholes. Before we meet them,
pricks.
we see Muffy, and she's winding up
a Jack in the Box.
A Jack in the Box.
Yeah, I think it's a memory she had. I think from when she was younger.
Yes, she finds a Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Now,
not the restaurant, by the way. This is
and thing is,
she finds a Jack in the Box in the present moment, and then has a flashback to when she's a kid.
And those things are always terrifying.
Yeah, and a monster
because
sort
you
of
you go like the blink, 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 and you
blink,
slow
blink,
it down.
blink.
All of a sudden, blah! And it always scares the fucking shit out of you.
well, it's the original jump scare at Jack in the Box.
And the whatever the clown or the demon or whatever.
In this case, it was like a horrifying demon.
Yeah, they're always gross and horrifying and terrifying things.
And then she's carrying a mannequin around in a basement, and then some old lady, I guess her mother, is like, "Hey, Muffy, you're having a big party this weekend," and she's like, "It's gonna blow everyone's mind." So it's something very cryptic.
So she's talking like a gay man now.
Is that what that sounds like?
A little bit.
That's my real voice.
Oh, really? That's okay. I'm cool with that.
Hey, I'm Dylan.
Yeah, because she tells her mom something like, "I like to sew." Yeah, she tells which is a weird line. I have it written down here. So
the whole intro is weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then we cut to a bunch of douchebags on the dock.
They're catching a ferry, which
to the island where Muffy lives.
Yeah,
to Muff Island. Let's call it
Muff Island.
Yeah,
and it's all filmed here in BC.
I wondered about that.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, I wonder where it was.
I'm going to say maybe Bowen or something like
Salt
that.
Spring or.
Anyway, it's one of the islands you can get to by ferry, which is a lot of them. Yeah, it's a great location because it's really beautiful and picturesque. And it's a good location for a horror movie because every time something's set outside, like in woods or anything like that for a horror movie, it can be pretty creepy.
So this is where we meet.
As established by movies like Friday the 13th and
the Fog remake.
The Fog remake.
Well, the Fog remake was shot on Bowen Island.
Was it?
And so was the Wicker Man remake, which was.
Those are both terrible movies, though.
Yeah. But not the original. The originals are great.
The originals are good, but you're talking about the remakes. The originals are great.
Anyways, but they look. I keep plugging the Wicker Man remake because I'm in it.
Well, ooh la la.
Anyways,
are you Nicolas Cage?
No,
the bees.
I'm the Wicker Man.
Again with the bee. Are you the Wicker Man?
I'm one of the bees.
Right.
One
of the bees.
Like John Belushi, I just dressed up in a bee costume and chased Nicolas Cage around on Bowen Island.
Now that's
easiest $50 I ever made. So, anyways, they're all going to Muffy Island. Or Muff Island.
Yeah.
And they're on this wooden dock, and we meet them all, and it's a bunch of blonde people who I could not tell the difference who they were.
I think one guy's name was Chad Chaddington or something like that.
There's one guy called Chaz.
Chaz.
Yeah, he looks like a young Val Kilmer playing Corey Hart in a movie.
Totally.
Oh, wow.
And he's a dickhead, and he's got this because he's got a camera and spiky hair.
Yeah.
And he's obsessed with people's zippers.
I've got it written down. The fly's open. That comes up like 2 or 3 times. Like is that some sort of is that a thing?
His first line is, "Hey, your fly is open and your hostess Twinkie is hanging out.
Hostess Twinkie.
I'm like, that's actually pretty generous.
Because it is cream filled.
That's a big Twinkie.
And fluffy.
Yeah, but then he does it to everybody, and he thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah.
To say, which is the lamest fucking thing ever. It's like when someone pokes your shirt, and then you look down, and they bop you in the nose.
Yeah.
That's the kind of lame shit.
Yeah.
And there's like a couple of blonde women who I honestly don't know the difference. It doesn't really matter because they don't make it to the end of the movie.
There's one gross dude who's checking out a woman in her shorts, and it's an obvious like full on camel toe.
Oh, that's when they're on the actual ferry.
Are we there yet?
And then Biff is there.
Yeah.
Tom Wilson is there.
Wake up and smell the bacon. Some guy says.
That's not even a thing.
I know. That's the thing. It's not even a thing. Wake up and smell the bacon.
It should be though. It's
well, bacon's delicious.
Well, because bacon rhymes more with waken than coffee does.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then they're all like, and then there's this cranky ferryman that you're dressed as right now. You're doing cosplay, cranky ferryman cosplay, and he's like, "We gotta go now. I don't get paid overtime." I'm like, that's the first time I've ever heard anyone
really want to get the.
Let's get this ferry over to Muff Island, and then you hear a car coming, and then the guy gets out, and I think that's the cowboy douchebag.
Yeah. All these guys, all these people are so interchangeable.
But they're all rich white pricks.
Yeah.
And then they all get on the ferry, and then so Biff and Skip.
Yes.
Who the hell? Oh, who's the main guy? Is that Skip?
Skip is the guy who claims to be. He's introduced in the beginning of the film as the hostess's cousin.
The hostess.
Oh, that's right. And he's the one who survives to the end, right? Oh, come on. Spoilers.
I don't know.
He doesn't.
Oh, wait, but no, or is he the first one to die?
Well, he's one of the first one.
Oh, because okay.
Well, actually, the first guy that we assume is dead is the guy on the ferry. The guy's in the water.
Anyways,
well, I don't know what the fuck that guy's doing in the water.
Biff and somebody decide to play a game of stretch, which to the uninitiated. Did you guys ever play stretch as a kid?
Is that like knifey?
I also did play knifey. But anyways, with the same knife.
Well, there's a knife. There's a knife thing in this.
You throw a knife into the ground,
right?
And then you lean over without moving your feet. You stretch over, and whoever can throw the knife farther than the other person can reach it wins. So
that sounds like a really boring game.
Yeah, when you're a kid, it's fine. You got a Swiss Army knife, and you stab yourself in the hand and you throw it on the ground. But
after playing knifey.
But so Biff and what's his nuts? Skip play stretch, and then stretch falls over immediately, and Biff's like, "Yeah, I won." And then there's this weird. I don't know what happens, but he pretends that he's been stabbed in the stomach.
Because
one of the
they
guys
argue a little, and then the guy throws the knife backwards,
like almost by accident on purpose, and it hits
Skip
in the stomach, and
he reacts like he's been brutally stabbed.
But you see the knife sticking out of his fucking stomach,
and there's blood and stuff,
spraying there, and he falls into the water, and that's how those guys end up in the water. They jump in to save him.
No, that's later, isn't it? When they're on the ferry.
No, but they're on the ferry.
Oh,
right
they
now.
are on the ferry.
They're on the ferry now, but it hasn't left.
It
hasn't left the dock yet. So
they're about to dock.
Oh, they're about to dock. And then for some reason, one of the dock hands is in the water, and she's trying to throw
in the water because he's trying to throw
a rope over the thing which is stupid. Nobody does that.
I know, but what we're totally missing is Biff throws the guy who plays Biff in Back to the Future throws.
So this Biff we're talking about is Biff from Back to the Future.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no character in this film called Biff.
I assume there was because they all have one syllable fluffy names.
We're just referring to him as Biff.
All right.
By his Back to the Future name, and played by Tom Wilson. He throws the knife. Skip apparently gets stabbed in the stomach and falls in the water, and then two guys jump in to save him, but then it's revealed to be
April
a
Fools.
prank.
Yes.
A prank.
April
and then
Fools.
One of the two guys who jumped in the water to save him stays in the water and tries to take the rope from the ferry and hook it up to the dock.
Which is so stupid. Because nobody would do that because it's almost impossible to do. And it's dangerous.
Even the cranky ferryman would be like, don't be an idiot.
Yeah. He's in the water trying to throw like a lasso like 12 feet in the air over a post.
He's in between.
He's
in between the ferry and the dock.
Yeah, so he's an idiot. The ferryman's an idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's when... So you've already... The stabbing's bogus.
I have it written here. Is that Biff? I'm finally cluing in that that's actually Biff.
And why does he look so much older in Back to the Future?
But anyway, at this point,
Oh, God.
At this point, the guy who's in the water trying to tie the tow line to the dock gets crushed by the boat.
Apparently crushed
against
by the boat,
the dock. Yes, and he
for
goes underwater and comes back up with his skull crushed in.
No, he comes back up, his eyes sticking out, and his face is
he's got like a massive.
He's got like hamburger head. Yeah.
And this is really weird because the guy who plays Skip. I noticed this right away in the credits. It's Griffin O'Neill, he's the son of Ryan O'Neill. He's involved in this plot, which ends up severely injuring this guy. In real life, after this film came out, or after the film was it happened in 1986, after the film was finished,
after the film.
Just after this film was finished being made, Griffin O'Neill was in a boating accident with Francis Coppola's son, and he killed Francis Coppola's son and actually served time for it. He was
on purpose.
They were in a boat, bombed. They were totally high partying, the two of them. They were childhood friends, and basically.
Laughing during this. Sorry.
So this is a serious moment in the podcast. I also telling a serious story. So
Griffin O'Neill and Gio Coppola, his friend, son of Francis Coppola,
right,
were in a boat together, speedboat, and Griffin O'Neill was at the wheel, and the boat.
O'Neill at the wheel. Sorry.
The boat went between two other boats, and he didn't notice there was a tow line.
Oh,
and Griffin O'Neill ducked quickly enough, but the tow line hit Gio Coppola.
Did it decapitate him?
I don't know if it decapitated him, but it killed him instantly. He's Gia Coppola.
I'd say probably decapitated.
The filmmaker Gia Coppola, who made like Palo Alto,
right.
That's the deceased Coppola's daughter.
Interesting.
He was only 22 when he died.
I remember that.
And Griffin O'Neill did go to. He served. Well, he didn't serve much time because he's a celebrity. He basically got the celebrity treatment for it. But
I always get
but
that.
he was involved in a fatal boating crash right around the time of this.
He's a small time celebrity.
He's no Tatum.
So
anyways, so his eyeball's hanging out, and so the cop puts him in a motorboat
and then takes him away somewhere.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So now everyone's not bummed out enough about this. My opinion.
So they're still going to the party though. They're going to Muffy Island.
They rush the guy out. They rush him back to the land or the hospital.
Probably Squamish.
In one of Buffy's boats.
Yeah.
The only boat she has.
Muffy. We got to be very, very clear about this. It's Muffy, not Buffy. Buffy turns up later.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
So
the weirdest part though was when Peter Duffy showed up though to do a story about it. Like there's Muffy, there's Buffy, and then Peter Duffy.
Right.
Yeah. You're making me angry. I might get huffy. So be careful.
Well, you've always been a bit stuffy. So.
I'm going to slough you after the bathroom.
That's not even.
That's not a word.
Don't drink too much beer, or you'll get puffy.
You sound like a retuffy.
Puffy,
stay puffy, marshmallow man.
Muffy, stuffy. I have nothing. Okay, I have.
You've had enoughy.
I have 3 strange sentences written in my notes, and if someone could clarify these for me, I would appreciate it.
Jesus,
Darren, you better shave because you're looking kind of scruffy.
Fuck.
Sorry.
How come I can't think of any of these, and you guys got them all? I figured there's none left, so I've given up. I'm not going to say
just lucky, I guess. That doesn't really rhyme.
It kind of rhymes. Yeah. No Guffy. No.
Get out.
What's that? His name? Peter Duffy. Did I name the right guy?
Peter Duffy?
Mike Duffy.
Mike Duffy, not Peter Duffy.
Wait, Mike Duffy, the Premier of Ontario?
No, Mike Duffy,
he was like a
CTV guy who became a senator.
Yeah.
Mike Duffy. Sorry, no Peter Duffy.
Yeah.
Who's Peter Duffy?
It's his brother.
There is no Peter Duffy.
Well,
how about Stephen?
There probably is a Peter
There's
Duffy.
Stephen Tintin Duffy.
There probably
used
is
to be a member of Duran Duran.
Was he?
Yeah.
Can you get me another beer?
Sure you can handle it?
Yeah. So I've got 3 sentences here. I want you guys to explain them to me. One is, it's like a dream.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. The other one is Canadian wieners.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And the other one is anal entry.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know that one.
Can everyone tell me what this means?
I'll say the first 2 because when they arrive at the house, the way it's even filmed, there's kind of this misty-looking, dreamlike quality.
And Buffy, her Muffy, says it's like a dream or something.
One of them. Right? No, I don't think it's her. It's just one of the. By the way, this cast also includes. We forgot to mention two people who showed up in our previous podcast movies. The guy with the cigar played the. He's in
The other guy with the
Something
cigar.
Wild.
Wait,
He's in
oh, yeah?
Something Wild. He's the guy at the high school reunion when they end up at the high school reunion. with the quirky wife.
That's right. That's right.
And the blonde.
Yeah, but I accidentally
the lead
deleted
blonde,
that one. So
the lead blonde is from Monkey Shines. She's the physical trainer.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love Monkey
you could call her
Shines.
that. All right.
Yeah.
Trained his
Monkey
tongue.
to like
She's the monkey trainer in Monkey Shines.
with those sexy hip
And they're
waders.
cooking beans and wieners, and there's a joke
Are you okay?
involving.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I feel so good right now.
You can
think
explain
you
the
wanna fight
sexual
somebody.
joke.
I do.
I explained the beans and wieners, and I explained the dream. Now you.
What did you
The dream-
did you explain the Canadian wieners? What'd you say?
Did. They're cooking beans and wieners.
The dreams and
Oh, right.
wieners?
Okay.
And that which leads directly beans and wieners. That's the anal.
But they're mentioned that specifically as Canadian wieners.
Are they? I don't remember.
Well, I
that.
wouldn't have written it down if it didn't say that, right? Or someone said that.
Well, I don't see any brand, but I think you might see.
Well, I don't think it's a
of
brand.
beans.
It's just they're just from Canada. It's like the last movie we did, the Valentine's Day movie with the Canadian wieners that the guy got boiled his face into.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a
I
theme.
thought
There's a
of that
weird
too,
theme going
wieners,
on here.
I'm sure there's a lot of movies that we've done and will do that feature wieners.
The wiener, though.
Canadian wieners.
The wiener, though,
Now,
really goes off the Richter scale in this moment, though, is when Buffy opens the door and Kevin Spacey's in the shower again.
Yeah, fuck.
Wow.
You know what? The thing is,
I can't believe it took you that long
and
to mention it.
You know, and what's horrifying is that we're going to release this one after the Blob. So this is going to be like a running joke.
It is a running
we're
joke.
We're going to go like, okay, so
I'm a running
but
I
the
like your air guitar there for the running joke.
The anal intruder thing is
That's the beans and wieners.
That's
the beans and
a top
wieners.
secret joke.
they are. Oh, yeah, right. It is. We need to do Top Secret.
I love the new top secret.
Where's everyone going?
I'm in the bathroom.
Keep talking.
Yeah, but Alec. Oh, I think he just cut the cheese, so he's
No,
being nice.
keep talking.
You cut the cheese, didn't you?
No, I cut the beans and wieners, but no.
Well, thank you. I don't have a sense of smell, so don't worry about me. Ugh, I did a little too much. I snorted a few too many things in the 90s, and now I have no idea when anyone cuts the beans and wieners. I'm just going to stand here because I don't feel like I'm engaged in a conversation anymore.
I'm listening.
Okay, well, the guy I'm talking to is Darren, but he's draining the Canadian wiener.
Sorry. Editing.
Yeah. This will be an easy one, though, because it was a really short movie. It's only like an hour and 28 minutes long.
Let's hope we keep the podcast that length.
Well, I'm kind of thinking that would be not a terrible idea. Okay, so there's the beans and wieners I did not notice. I think because I myself was eating dinner while I was watching this movie, and I think I made a vegetarian spaghetti tonight. Actually,
Boring.
I'm trying to cut back on my meat intake.
Me too. Actually, that's my one of my New Year's resolutions is to get back on the meat.
That's why you were drooling about the wieners.
What do you think of this concept? Beans and wieners pizza.
I think that's a disgusting thing. I can't believe you even said that out loud.
Yeah, I think that's the stuff nightmares are made of.
Yes. Well, no.
Anyway, so the beans and wieners I didn't notice, but that's probably when the three female leads were in the kitchen, and one of them is reading like USA Today or something.
And it's just they're talking about anal
and there's a
entry?
weird sex survey, and
Right.
it's like it was funny because it was
Those
like
magazines have the weirdest fucking like articles and sex things. They're so graphic and like full on.
Yeah.
Like have you had your anal today? Have you you taken it in the face?
Yeah.
Like
it's what does his jizz taste like?
Exactly, in your eye.
What does it smell like being fired up your right nostril?
Yeah, it's really weird.
But yeah, so this is 1986. So they're
how did it come out of your hair?
They're like, well, you cut it out. It's like gum.
There's something about Barry that shows that.
Anyways, they're in the kitchen and they're cooking the beans and the pre-mentioned beans and weenies.
Yes.
And she's asking the questions, but they're really quite tame because it's like, what was your first time like? And it was like, it was great. It wasn't that good.
It hurt.
It hurt, but I like him.
Right.
So whatever. And then the next one was like, I've fantasized about trying, and it's
Right.
like, and it's weird because they say lesbian sex. They don't say gay sex. They say lesbian sex.
Well, but they're all women talking about though, right?
Yes, but the magazine.
Because
I looked, and the magazine was like a newspaper.
Right.
It wasn't like one of these ladies.
It was in the newspaper.
Yeah. It was like Mount St. Helens explodes, and then John Lennon shot, and then page 3 is sex quiz.
Or was this all on the front page?
Was that 80? Was that
it
80?
was a smaller. No, those are different times.
It was 86 when. No, actually, John Lennon got shot in 81.
And Mount St. Helens was in 80, I think.
Anyways, so that's what it was. I felt like there were an awful lot of pointless fucking scenes in this movie. Like,
especially there's a lot of filler.
In the filler is the perfect way, like those beans and weenies.
I was going to say, it goes right back to the wieners.
It's just like there's so many scenes. Like if you want to watch people play touch football.
Yeah,
on a handheld camera.
But who doesn't?
This is the movie for you.
I just like touch football.
They are filling up because basically this movie hangs on a very simple premise.
Yeah.
And there's maybe 45 minutes of material in that premise, and the rest of it is filler.
I have written my next sentence is get on with the killing because there hasn't been any
filling,
killing.
more killing.
Yeah.
Well, there's been that impressive head crushing.
Yeah,
that wasn't that impressive.
Oh,
yeah, it is. I thought that was amazing. I didn't remember that from the original film, and I loved it when the guy's head gets crushed.
And then they started in with the sort of I guess the April Fool's jokes. There's a whoopee cushion.
Oh God!
There's like an exploding cigar. There's the dribble glasses.
And that exploding cigar is like, what is the rule with the Chekhov's gun?
If there's a exploding cigar in the first act, it has to explode in the
eventually by the end of the movie. But he's smoking that thing for like fucking an hour and a half,
and then it explodes. I know,
and you don't even see it. They cut to that lame ass. They painted his face gray, charcoal gray, with his hair all
and his
crazy.
Hair
And by the way, I don't think I've never actually. Do they even exist? Do exploding cigars even exist?
I think that'd be the most horrible thing because it could blow your lips off or blow your nose off or your eyebrows or something like that.
Yeah, man.
Like this, like who knows how much dynamite to put in a cigar?
Dynamite, gunpowder. I don't think we're up to the dynamite. Who knows how much Semtex to put in a funny cigarette?
But to make your face all of a sudden covered in black explosive and your hair stand up,
yeah,
you gotta have, without actually hurting you. Your lips would just be meat, like bloody meat hanging off your, like flapping around off your face, like it's ridiculous.
Hilarious though.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been an exploding cigar ever in the history of humanity. I think it's a movie joke, and nobody's ever experienced.
It happens in the cartoons all the time.
Well, those aren't documentaries.
They have dinner, and it's established now that they're a bunch of rich people. And that Muffy is the richest of them all because it's her house, and a couple of the dudes want to get with the muffster. For her fortune. It's also revealed that she might not be able to keep the deed to the house for some reason, but she's about to turn 18, and so it's kind of up in the air. So she's inviting them to the island the weekend of the 1st of April just for a good old time. And boy, are there ever some Harry Anderson level gags.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like, the dribble glass at the dinner time, and
the dribble glass wasn't bad. I thought
it was, but the whoopee cushion.
Because she gives him this
big,
big, boring speech about the importance of friendship and all of that, and it's like, and then so I kind of like the dribble glass, but and the chair, Tom Wilson's chair falls. What, 3 times?
he keeps wiping out wherever he goes. His chair collapses. Like the door slams on his foot. Something happens to that guy every time he's in a scene.
Yeah. And like a huge truck full of manure lands on him.
Apparently, somebody says smells like Ripple, which is a weird. Like apparently, it's a weird drink. Like
the wine. Ripple wine is like the cheapest wine you can get. It's like baby duck.
It's like Moody Blue.
Ripple Red.
Oh yeah.
I remember because Kids in the Hall had this really hilarious sketch about this guy, this art collector who meets the artist, played by Bruce McCullough, and he's like
buying an Elvis,
and he's buying a Velvet Elvis, and then and it's like, how much do you want for it? And he's like, well, $24. He's like, best I can give you is $13. He's like, well, but it cost me $15 for the supplies, and then they celebrate with a bottle of Ripple Red.
Nice.
Which is just like, if you were a cheap drunk, you know Ripple Red.
Yeah, well, I drank the cheap shitty wine back. The first time I ever got drunk was on shitty wine. And I remember being I was in my parents' basement, and my friend and I drank like a magnum of wine or something stupid like that. And all of a sudden I had to be sick. And so I crawled up the the stairs to barf into the toilet on the first floor. I barfed and I crawled back down the stairs to get back to my room. And oh my God, it was so horrible. I was so drunk and it was so awful. Covered in purple puke.
There was one in the Maritimes when we were kids, Great White as well. Was a
a shark fin in it or something?
It had like shark imagery. Yeah, it was Great White, and my friend used to mix it with Fresca and loved it.
Wine and pop.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? There's a name for that. There's one called. It's called like white trash sangria, and it's red wine and C plus orange.
Oh,
we used to drink that. My girlfriend and I used to drink that.
Sounds fucking horrible.
Why
do we drink all that terrible, stupid things? Why don't we just drink what it was? Why don't you just drink some wine and drink some scotch or
because the sugar keeps you
some heroin?
Like peppermint schnapps. That's another.
Oh, I remember drinking schnapps around the campfire, passing the bottle of schnapps around. Oh my God.
Although the thing is, if you actually get like real schnapps from Daneland or wherever the fuck it's from.
That's where it's from, Daneland. Yes.
Where's schnapps from?
It's German, isn't it?
German?
It sounds German. Schnapps.
Belgian, maybe. Anyways, that shit is really good, like pear schnapps. But if you buy like raspberry schnapps
from the Ontario Liquor Board, you're not getting the good stuff.
No, you really aren't.
No, you're just poisoning yourself and all your friends.
So they're having dinner. They've eaten the beans and weenies.
At this point, I've written in my notes, "Hey, movie, stop being boring." Yeah, this movie's boring at this point.
At this point, I'm like, this is a boring ass fucking movie.
Like, come on, just get on with stuff.
Yeah, but you like bad,
you like
cheap
everything.
Horror movies. I remember thinking, I bet you Alex is just loving this. Because this is just like the science.
I wasn't loving it, but I was.
And then we've got some weird homoerotic horseplay.
There's a lot of that
around, and they're obviously I can't remember. I cannot remember
Corey
anybody's
Hart and Biff have to share a bed.
And then Corey Hart's in love with Biff. It's obvious.
Yeah, but he's fucking the other chick who looks like Pat Benatar.
There's someone looks like Pat.
She's got the big hair.
Oh yeah. Well, but it's all a ruse because he's in love with Biff.
Well, yeah, and Biff will just bang anything.
Yeah, well, he's Biff.
That's where he gets his name. Right? He says, "Let's hide the sausage.
Hide the wiener. Hide the Canadian wiener.
Let's play hide the fucking Timbit."
I doubt he calls Dick a Timbit.
I've always thought hide the sausage is just it's like when people say let's pork. I'm always any kind of meat reference to sex is just repulsive.
It is.
Making bacon.
The hot beef.
Hot beef. That's the worst one.
I've never heard making
no.
bacon.
Tuna taco is actually the worst one. But
that's
another one I'll have to edit.
Why do we have to put food into sex? Like I like both.
I'm
but
okay
not,
with
not together.
Vegetable based. Like I don't mind pita.
Yeah.
Or like avocado. I'm okay with.
Right. Can I take
mango?
Can I take the pit out of your avocado? Is that your
thinking? Or banana. Like put my banana in your avocado.
Let me mash your guacamole.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if in any way meat is involved, yuck.
Yeah.
So anyway,
meat is delicious.
So they're all bedding down, and so Spiky Boy, Corey Hart bangs. Okay, so there's a weird Sammy rapey, and this actually isn't that bad by 80s slasher movie standards.
Is there a
well, it's just Biff comes on hard to Muffy.
Right.
Like he leans right in. He's like, "You know what time it is?" And she's kind of flirty, but she's like, "Good night, Biff."
Right, that's right.
And then she goes to bed, and then he goes and he like listens in to the other room.
Does it do that? Does it have like a glass?
And they're just like laughing and stuff.
Right.
And then he goes to open a door, and the handle comes off or something.
Another good joke. The handles come off the doors come like 3 or 4 times in this movie.
But I've stayed in a lot of like bed and breakfasts where handles actually came off doors. I didn't realize it was a gag. And then he walks in on Corey Hart boning Pat Benatar.
Right.
And
I'd watch that.
And their legs are all like twisted and weird.
It's the weirdest thing. Like his leg is beside his own ear, and like how's that even humanly possible?
He's like that guy in Creepshow 2 who gets sucked through the raft.
Yeah, but he's enjoying it.
Her legs are way up in the air.
No, it's his leg.
His too.
His leg. All the legs are like they're where they're not. Where the legs are where they should not be.
And they don't seem to be enjoying what they're doing at all.
His foot is by her ear. It looks really uncomfortable and painful and pointless.
It is like that scene in Top Secret when it's the sex on the beach, and you see them like it's like a love scene, and they're all naked, and you see hands holding it, and then it's scanned, and you just see arms and legs and more hands, and it's just this like weird.
Yeah,
it's like The Fly.
Or it's almost like a society with all those sort of fleshy, sex, gross.
Ugh, God, don't bring that movie up.
Oh, I like that movie.
I fucking hate that movie. Anyways, so then, so I guess Biff just goes and biffs off, and then he falls asleep, and then they wake up in the morning.
Well, I have here cigar guy. Why would you have all those clippings? Do you guys know what that means?
Yeah. So he's walking around. He stole a bunch of cigars.
Right.
So the wannabe rich guy.
Right.
He stole a bunch.
Who's the guy from the other movie we were talking about?
Sure. Yeah. Who was a wannabe rich guy in Something Wild.
Right.
And he's like trying out his shtick, like with my brains and your money, Muffy.
And this is with the cigar that explodes.
Yeah, but you keep watching that cigar, and it's kind of well done because I'm like, how are they going to time this? Oh, this is going to be really fun. Like, this actor, he must be like, because I knew the cigar was going to explode. We all did.
I didn't.
And I was like, I want to see this cigar explode when he's being a dick.
And take his fucking head right off.
And then it cuts away to when Biff is listening to other people bone, and then you hear bang in the other room.
Yeah, well, they're not going to... I think it's too dangerous and they're low budget to show that on screen.
Oh, actors aren't worth...
Actors are worthless.
That's what it's showing. Actors are worthless. Ask Alfred Hitchcock. So anyway, so is this when someone goes down and he cuts leaves for some reason? So the guy with the switchblade.
Yeah, I don't remember.
What?
Well, at nighttime he goes down to the dock and he finds these leaves. Skip.
Yeah.
And then he cuts some. Remember this? He cuts some plants and he smells it like.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that marijuana? I don't understand.
I don't understand either. It was a pointless like sort of misdirect for nothing.
And then he goes into the moor house or the dock house or whatever they call where the boat is.
Right.
And then a cat jumps out at him.
Of course. It's the biggest sort of scare jump. Someone just throws a cat off screen, and they got in the ADR goes because cats never make that sound ever,
and they don't jump down to your face.
No, they do not jump on.
And they don't hang out in moor houses.
No. Well, they might, but as soon as someone comes, they're going to probably run away. Why? They're not going to leap on somebody.
I don't understand why. I'm like, what is the cat even doing there? There's a whole island full of mice to eat.
Well, who knows? Who knows?
But then he gets grabbed. The guy gets grabbed. This hand comes out and grabs the guy.
Right. And then it cuts away.
And it cuts away to the next morning.
Well, actually, before that, we have the crying baby gag.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Which for me is like, and I like.
That's very disturbing.
Who would make a cassette of a crying baby?
Oh, yeah. You just have to
do it all the time. It's back in the answer machine era, it was always my answer machine. You'd call and you'd get a crying baby.
Right. You just jerk off to that, or what? The face you're making is totally appropriate for what I just said, Alex.
For crying baby,
and
yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah. So, do you like? I've seen a lot of guys walking around town lately with like playing music on some little device. Do you walk around with like a little crying baby?
No, it was just my answer machine in the end.
So you don't bring it out of the house. You don't take it to work. You know. Okay.
And the thing is, the crying baby thing could have actually been like really disturbing if there's
an actual baby and on fire or something.
No, if they brought it back or something, because it's kind of a creepy thing, especially because I think they suggested that woman had an abortion.
Yes.
Did they? Okay.
So because she gets really upset the next morning and goes like, "What, you think it's fucking funny?" And I don't think Muffy knew that she'd had an abortion. Anyways, and then there's the thing with the painting with the eyes.
How do you? Yeah. Oh, the paint with the shifty eyes, and that comes up a number of times.
I'm like, oh, that's one of those dumb Felix cat.
Yeah, well, like what? Like
behind it,
which it was.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so it's a bunch of dumb jokes.
Yeah.
Like even a whoopee cushion,
Yeah.
Anyways, whatever. So they've established that it's April. By the way, movie April Fool's Day ends at noon. Everyone knows this. If you can't get someone by noon,
is that Eastern Standard Time or Pacific Standard Time?
Oh, is this like a Gremlins thing? Like it's midnight somewhere?
I don't know.
Well,
I also have written. I have written here that there's a line that somebody says, "I'm not angry at you. I'm just angry."
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh my God! And then there's that subplot which goes nowhere.
Right.
So the two
survivors.
I
have written after that.
The two survivors are a guy who I guess he's from. I don't know if he's rich like the rest of them.
That was the couple that were about to have sex in the dock, and they saw the bodies float underneath.
That's
them.
right.
Yeah.
Skip floats.
Skip and then Susan or Lizzie.
During dinner, they're talking about what are we going to do with our future after we get out of college and all of this shit. And it comes up that he's been accepted to medical school, but he wasn't actually accepted. Whatever. So he's embarrassed in front of his friends because she mentioned it. And then she's like, anyways, it doesn't go anywhere.
No.
Like none of the subplots go fucking anywhere.
I've got like a what the fuck sex? What the fuck is this movie about? Boathouse flying cat. Why is there a? I can't read that. Where's the nudity? You know, they keep alluding to nudity, and there's no nudity. There's
the nude legs everywhere.
Yeah,
that's not nudity. Nudity is the not legs.
When I was 11, that was good enough for me. Because after they bone in the morning, what's her name opens the gate, you know, Life of Brian style, and she's just in her panties.
But she has a shirt over covering her boobs too. Yep. So, but
and then the one guy is just sting out there like fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme or something.
With some of those stretchy,
those
bendy
bars. Fucking and then it boings up like a dick, and he's like, "Good morning."
Well, those things are dangerous. I have one of those things. If you let the thing go, it's going to take your fucking teeth out.
Yeah.
Like you don't like. It's not a metaphor for your erect penis in the morning, but it was in this movie. I also have gay soccer. Was there like a gay soccer match?
It was soccer, not rugby. They were playing. Yeah, whatever. There's so many pointless fucking scenes.
Yeah. Well, they're basically just stretching things out to make a movie.
You know what this is? This movie was a very good episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
I would say very good.
No. I would say, a very good episode, you know, because that was a half-hour TV show, right? Mm-hmm. Where it would have a twist like this.
Right.
And they tried to make that into a 90-minute movie because there's just so much fucking useless, pointless shit. And then they eventually, there's a good bit when Muffy turns up and she's making eggs in the morning.
Right.
And she's acting crazy. And she's like, I'll go back to my room. And her hair's all crazy.
And she's all pasty and crazy.
Yeah.
She looks a lot different than what she did before. And that's when I got confused. I was like, who is this person anymore? Like, I didn't know. It made no. This movie stopped making sense for me about halfway through.
Okay, but if you watch the movie the whole way through, it makes sense.
Maybe I didn't do that.
But
I did fall asleep partway.
Like in context, that makes sense. But in the moment, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I think what's her name who played Muffy actually
the performance
did quite
Valley Girl.
Valley Girl did quite a good job because she effectively had to play two characters in this movie.
Yeah.
Or one person playing two characters.
Yeah.
Well, no, but still, and like it. If it wasn't for all the filler, I'd say it was a really interesting script because it could have been.
Could have been. Like there's so much potential here for like I don't want to give anything away, but it's kind of like the game kind of thing.
I got the game right here on my.
It was going to be
on the napkin that I wrote over the Charlottes, and I wrote my notes on this napkin.
Yeah, it was going to be my pairing at the end, but it was too obvious.
I was thinking. It would be a good pairing, but it doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
So then, our two leads, Spike and female
Mitzi,
they go down to the Moore house to start boning because he's all like, "I'm never going to be a doctor," and she's like, "You're right, you're a jerk. Come fuck me in the doghouse." And then and they're boning away. And
you say dock or doghouse?
They're about to bone.
They're about to bone.
And
boing? You say boing?
Floats underneath.
And then Skip, which I remember that from the commercials. Do you guys remember the ad?
Yes.
Yeah, because I remember that was one of the scenes
where the floorboard.
It's like through the floorboard she starts freaking out, so they run back up to the house.
That's really a boner killer.
Especially underneath you.
Yeah, exactly. You look down and you see your dead friend.
I can always finish.
Really?
Yeah.
You can just like slough that off and just keep going?
Well, he's dead. He would want me to finish boning before.
Really?
By the way, guys, if you're ever boning and my dead body floats by,
I
give you permission to continue.
Okay,
and then
I am filing that away for
provided that one of you didn't kill me or whatever.
Well, does that matter?
I guess it doesn't.
No,
you're probably boning because you killed me.
Yeah,
think of it.
Because we're sleeping with your.
No, I want you guys to be impotent for the rest of your lives after I die. Let's take a pact. Whoever dies first, the other two have to remain impotent for the rest of their lives.
All right. Should we cut our palms?
Blood Brothers. We'll play some Bon Jovi. Okay, so Blood on Blood. You ever hear that song?
No.
There's a Bon Jovi song. This is the most irresponsible pop song.
Is that what's
There's a song called Blood on Blood. about doing a blood brother pact with like 3 of his buddies back in New Jersey in the 70s.
Yeah.
And there's one line in Blood
Obviously
on Blood.
before
Alex,
he
have
made
you ever heard Blood on Blood?
I don't know.
It's off the album New Jersey. And by the way, I'm not a fan of Bon Jovi, but for some reason I know this song.
Yep.
And it's one of the lines is like Billy knew, but it's about them getting a hooker,
Right.
And then
Really? Well, this is what happens in New Jersey.
He goes, Billy knew a cheap hooker, so we all threw in a 10.
Oh dear.
She took us to a cheap motel and turned us into men. And I'm like, you all shared a sex worker in the 70s, and then you did the blood on blood. Like
that's how you become a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what my dad told me.
Several diseases.
Yeah.
Blood on blood. I'm just like, wow, the most irresponsible song ever. Anyway.
And gross.
And it's just gross.
It's gross.
And Bon Jovi.
It's all gross from top to bottom there.
So anyway, they run up to the house, and everyone's there, Biff, the whole gang. And they're like, we totally just saw what's his name floating by while we were boning. Right. And so they're like, let's go to the woods and look for someone. I'm not even sure who the fuck they were looking for.
Actually, the best scene that I thought in this movie is when I can't remember whatever character that was. He's off on his own.
Biff.
And there's a snake.
Yep, Biff. That is a good scene.
Yeah, and
it's the only time I was scared through the whole movie.
Because I've always been freaked out by snakes in movies and stuff. Like snakes are kind of weird and creepy things.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, and they're the reason that women are second-class citizens.
Oh, because of that stupid snake in that garden that ate the apple.
She just hadn't listened to a snake.
They
get paid the same amount as men.
So a talking snake destroyed women for the whole history of
that's why they don't deserve the same amount of pay.
Stupid Bible.
It's because they talk to snakes. Fucking morons.
Well, snakes can talk to them.
I guess really you're just listening to a snake. You're not really already.
I'll have one of those. I'll have an IPA for
what's left.
IPA for me, please. But when Elvis said he's in a snare, which actually has to happen so perfectly that both your feet are together.
Yeah.
Nobody walks or stands like that.
It's hopping through the woods.
Yeah, like a giant bunny.
Because your shoelaces are tied together.
And then he's strung up in a snare, and there's a scene where the snake is like lunging at him.
Well, he doesn't notice the fucking snake. Okay, so here's the thing: they all decide. They go down.
The snake is so obvious, and he doesn't see it. It's like
he's in the woods at nighttime. Like
no, it's not nighttime. This is broad daylight.
No, this is nighttime.
Trust me, I just watched this movie 2 hours ago.
Okay,
so
maybe it's dusk.
What happens is the boning in the dockhouse incident, and then they run upstairs and they're to the house, and they're like, oh my god, da 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 da, and then the 3 dudes run down there, and Switchblade guy pulls out or they find the Switchblade with the blood on it,
right?
And they're like, oh, well, where is he? And it's like, we should split up, which they always say in these fucking movies. Yeah. And so they split up to try and find, I'm not even sure who. And
some guy.
That's where you cut. They're trying to find the murderer, right? Which they assume is the guy you're dressed as right now, the cranky ferryman. So, Biff winds up.
He's the MacGuffin. He's the guy that thinks that everyone thinks that he's doing all the killing and stuff.
I didn't think that.
Well, no. In the movie, that's what they tell you what is happening.
So, anyways, Biff is walking through the woods one day in the merry, merry month of April,
Snakes.
And then there's a fucking horrible poisonous asp just there.
How do you know it's an asp?
Because that's an asp.
Could have been an adder.
What's an adder? No, it's not an adder.
It could have been like a...
Adders don't rise up. Adders stay on their bellies.
What about like a mamba?
It's not a mamba is an asp, you moron.
Don't be a moron. No, it's not.
I just made that up.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Well, the thing is, I don't think there's any... The thing is, there's no poisonous snakes.
Okay.
There's no poisonous snakes that are living on islands in British Columbia.
There's no way... That thing was like a fucking rattlesnake.
Without the rattle.
Whatever.
Okay. It doesn't have a rattle.
My point is, in that environment,
cobra.
Snakes like that don't exist.
They live in India and Africa. They don't live in. They don't live here.
Have you ever? Okay, I've been to the Gulf Islands, and
Yep.
I've never encountered a hissing fucking.
I've never seen a snake, and if it was, it's a fucking garter snake.
Yeah.
Which will bite you, but they're not poisonous or anything like that.
They don't even have teeth.
Well, they have fangs.
No, they're constrictors. They just.
No, the garter snakes aren't constrictors.
They're too small.
They will bite you.
Or gopher snakes.
You think of golfers.
I'm thinking of the one that we had at Science World when I worked there. I used to feed the fucking thing.
What'd you feed it?
Children. Anyways, my point is, on a fucking temperate Pacific Northwest island, you don't get a lot of hissing fucking cobras.
It wasn't a cobra.
So,
might have been an ass.
Oh my god, we finally broke Alex.
Good. Took a long time.
So,
he's really hungover, so he's a hard sell.
And Biff is so fucking stupid. Look, I guess I'm the only one who's alert when I go into the forest that there might be dangerous animals. And he's like a foot and a half away from this thing.
It's not Australia where everything's poisonous and wants to bite and kill you all the time.
You would certainly notice a hissing asp. Like,
wow, that was my nickname. Back
about
in the
40
day.
yards from the house, by the way.
Yes.
And anyway, so he's like, do.
Yeah.
And then they double down. He's caught in a snare.
Yeah.
And up he goes into the trees.
And the snake lurches at him.
That's a freaky scene.
It was a freaky scene. It was for me. It was the best scene in the movie because it seemed real.
And then you see this male grubby foot come over.
And just brush it aside.
Well, yeah, and then you see
like
Tom Wilson's like, ooh.
Was that Tom Wilson in the
Yeah, Tom Wilson was the guy who got busted. So he's out of the movie now. So he's gone. Another one bites the dust.
Yeah, because his eyes bulge out when he sees that the potential killer that's going to maybe slice and dice him.
Yeah. You're the one saying we shouldn't spoil the ending, but you keep saying things like alleged and potential.
well, we're gonna have to spoil this fucking movie when we get to it.
And also, anybody who's listening to this podcast has probably seen April Fool's Day,
or they haven't. It's one of the two.
Well, I always say spoilers, like in the intro. It's spoilers.
If anyone's listening to any kind of movie podcast and they're talking about the movie from like nose to tail,
and the movie is 45 fucking years old or however.
There's gonna be spoilers, and if you can't handle it, well, go fuck yourself.
So Tom Wilson,
go fuck a hat.
Tom Wilson is fucked. Go fuck a hat.
Yeah, what's the thing?
How old are you?
All of it.
That's not a thing.
It's not.
You just made that up.
It's the same my brother says.
It's go fuck a bat. Everyone knows that.
What does that mean? Like a baseball bat or like a flappy bat?
It means turn upside down in a cape and fuck a bat. You've never heard that?
No.
Oh, weird.
So I don't run in the circles you run in. Those crazy weird comedian circles.
Go fuck a bat. So
have you heard that before, Alex?
Never.
So they go. So now people at the house are starting to sort of realize that 3 people are dead. Oh, and so what's his name phones the cop,
or they're not dead, but nobody's seen them.
Haven't seen him in a while.
Although, have we got to the part where the woman falls down the well?
Not yet. Okay. So, because a phone call is now made to the policeman.
This is right. What else can you drop down the well? Because they keep dropping everything down the fucking well.
Yeah. It's almost like The Good Son all over again.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that
was a fun movie.
Which I do have half of that. For some reason, the recording cut out halfway through. So I am going to put it up, and just with a warning, like
we're terrible. We're terrible at doing this job.
Well, The Good Son was like our 5th one that we tried.
Well, we should have at least had it recorded.
Yeah, but the thing is, we had like 20 minutes of it recorded. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to put it up as like, here's a taste of it. It was fun.
Right. A little, it'll be a little bonus.
When we do a Patreon thing where we beg for money online.
Is that what that is?
That's what Patreon is. Anyways, so they make a phone call to the mainland, and they want to talk to the cop, and they say, "Oh, the fucking cranky ferryman is murdering us."
Mm.
And then the cop's like, "No, that's impossible. I'm hanging out with him right now."
Right.
And then you see just the one side conversation. He's like, "Really, Muffy? Oh, okay. I'll let them all know." And then he hangs up.
Right.
So now you know something's up with the Muffster.
Yeah. Mysterious.
Well, and by the way, you haven't seen the Muffster in a while.
Well, I've written here. What's up with Muffy? Little brain damage because she's walking around like almost catatonic.
Yeah, she looks like Gilda Radner. Her hair's all crazy. Yeah, she's acting like a fucking lunatic. Like just like Gilda Radner. So then, the water cuts out.
I got a real magenta vibe.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Vibe. Okay.
So fucking red gunk starts coming out of the fucking taps, And
this is what I have. That well water might be tainted because there's fucking heads floating in it.
Well,
That's
yeah,
why.
but they don't
And a body,
they don't.
too.
Yeah.
A couple
Did we
of-
even get into that part where they
no,
fall down the well?
we're just getting there now.
Mm.
So they go to the so Blondie and the cowboy go up to the well.
Right.
And there's like this one little bucket, this like rinky dink bucket.
Of course, they're always a
It's
little
like a
rinky-
wishing well,
Yeah.
and it's like you gotta get enough water for everyone to bathe and drink
yeah.
from that.
Bathe and drink because everyone's worried about bathing. No one's worried about like drinking to stay alive.
I would be worried about bathing.
Really?
Well, at this point, I don't think they know that. Well, yeah, because you fucked all night. You probably want to bathe.
Well, there's a lake right there. You just jump in the lake and wash your junk in there.
yeah,
and
right.
live
I
in the
guess you
lake.
could.
Yeah. But I'd be more worried about the drinking water.
But there are sinks in the movie and stuff. There's a sink.
Yeah, but they're
red goo is coming out of the
they're getting gross, and that's why because it's from the well, and because of the bloodied heads floating around in the well.
So they go. So why did they go to? Well, whatever. They go to the well
to check it out,
to get water from
and
the well,
and they drop everything that they own.
Yeah.
They drop the flashlight.
And
they drop their hat. They drop their keys.
The bucket
they
breaks.
drop their pacemaker. Everything drops into the fucking well.
Yep.
Like idiots.
Yeah, they drop the keys to the boat.
Yeah.
They drop the script.
The script just like floats down into the well and it sinks.
Roger Ebert, they drop him down there, mercifully. Anyway, so then for whatever reason, she's an empowered feminist, so she climbs down into the well.
For whatever reason, she's an empowered
She
feminist.
goes down to retrieve the bucket.
She goes down to get to.
Well, she goes to retrieve everything she drops into the well.
Well, no, because
like a
dropped
fucking
the
idiot.
flashlight.
And of course the bars of the ladder pull out and she falls into the well.
Which I'm assuming. By the way, since when are there bars inside a well?
Well, because everyone has to climb in a well, right?
I've never
been in a well.
No.
And but I have to assume that there's bars just in case you fall in, so you can climb back out. That's why they're there, right?
Yeah.
I've never been inside a well. I just thought so many children fall into them all the time.
Well,
if there were bars, they just climb out, right?
Well, children are stupid.
That's true. They
Yeah.
can't use bars.
No.
So the question is, did the murderer loosen the bars?
Well,
Because
no.
that would really be thinking ahead.
Yeah, but that's really thinking ahead. And which bar would you loosen? Like,
Well, the bottom ones. So
Well,
then
what
you
is
go
it- what is
down,
it?
and then it's like, ah!
But no, it was like halfway up. She pulled out the bar, came out of the wall, halfway, and she fell, which without banging her head on the other side of the well as
Yeah.
you fall in,
Yeah.
because you could totally like brain yourself and just be dead and
And
just
it's
drown.
like she's bobbing for apples down there with human heads.
With human heads.
It's just there's so many human heads all of a sudden.
Yeah, but she doesn't take the time to make sure they're actual human heads.
Nobody takes it. Okay, fucking spoiler again. Like,
yeah, well, sorry.
Anyways, so you keep saying things like this, but like,
well,
you're watching the movie, you're supposed to believe they're real human heads.
I'm creating tension.
So, and there's torsos all of a sudden. Like, she
exactly.
didn't notice any of this shit when she was climbing the 12 feet down from daylight.
Because for some reason they were submerged, but when she hits the water, they all bob to the surface.
There's that, and it's broad daylight. And it's not the Mines of Moria. It's like 12 feet down. It's like you would surely you would see a human body part floating.
Yes,
but they're
well,
not
you would.
Floating. They bob to the surface.
So
But why would they bob to the surface?
Well, I mean, it's just
movie.
It's ridiculous 80s slasher.
It's movie physics.
But I like that scene though when she's in the water and the fucking all the like.
Yeah.
All we can say is
because
and he comes down. I'm like, oh, he's gonna fall in now, and like I actually thought that was a pretty good scene. There are quite a few.
It was a good scene
movie.
because it's really creepy, like water things for me, anyways. Like going back, like the Poltergeist and anything where you're trapped in water and there's gross things that you're trying to get away from, and the more you try to get away from them, the closer they get to you. And it's always fucking horrific. And
Amityville 3D has a really creepy well.
Amityville 3D.
You ever see? Or sorry, Amityville 3.
I remember it.
You
was
put
3D.
D after every time.
No,
you say 3, right?
because
I saw it when
was
I was
Jaws
young, but
3D,
I don't remember.
Yeah,
and
Friday the 13th 3D, which I saw
Amityville
both of those
3D.
in the theater.
Yeah,
Friday the 13th 3D.
Which is the best 3D.
Amityville 3D has like they're digging a well or whatever, and it turns out it goes to hell, to hell, and a demon
All
comes
is
out and
not
grabs
well
it.
in the well.
No.
How far would you have to dig a well to get all the way to hell?
Well, now you're doing swell.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Mel.
I once read a.
You'd find out if you fell.
Yeah, if you would, and if you had a sister named Nell.
This logic doesn't gel.
Sorry, I'm terrible. I'm terrible at this game.
I once read a Watchtower magazine where because I always take the Watchtower from the
I usually do
Joe
too.
host.
Because you want to make them feel good.
And I want to laugh.
It's always good for a laugh.
But I read this thing,
it's also stupid.
and in the back of the Watchtower they have like news of the world, and it's just like a paragraph or whatever.
There's usually like a dragon or a giant demon involved.
This one had somewhere in the Middle East. They were digging an oil well.
I remember this. They drilled into hell.
All of a sudden, the drill just stopped spinning, and they're like, and they pull the drill up, and they're like, "What?" And so they lowered lowered a microphone down, and they heard the screams of the damned.
Yeah, it was. I remember that story, and it was the Weekly World.
But they didn't send. They didn't send.
I used to buy it all the time.
I got the Weekly World News mixed up with the Watchtower.
No, it was the Weekly World News.
I used to have
it was the Weekly World News where Satan came out of the smokestacks. And it was like a big, Satan face.
But my favorite Weekly World News, and it was a running thing, not Bat Boy. Although
I was going to say Bat Boy.
Bat Boy was pretty great.
Yeah.
Is Michael Landon, the ghost of Michael Landon saved by life. And it was like 5 pages of stories of people who claim that Michael Landon came back from the grave.
But he was like a teen werewolf, right?
No, it's after he died. Highway to Heaven.
So it was pre-werewolf and...
Post-werewolf.
Post-werewolf.
Post-werewolf. What do you call it? What's in between pre and post? Present day angel, post-werewolf.
Wow. That's blown my mind, man.
Yeah. Well, it was Highway to Heaven. He died when he was filming Highway to Heaven.
Well, that's appropriate then, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, Highway to Heaven was off the air by the time he died.
Well, whatever. He's an angel.
He's an angel in all our hearts.
I could have sworn that was the Weekly World News with the fucking microphone down to hell.
That's what I'm saying. It was the Weekly
World
News.
I could have sworn it was the Watchtower.
I remember the story. Yeah, it was called...
awesome as the Watchtower.
The issue. I used to buy it all the time at this summer job.
You have a tattoo in your back, don't you?
But it was, the miners accidentally drill into hell. I remember that.
Yeah, and they lowered a microphone down. And I always wondered, how long is that cord?
Yeah, exactly. And the further it goes, the worse reception and like reverb you're going to get. And so it's, how could you...
Satan made it happen.
Satan made it happen?
Yeah. Satan's really good at acoustics.
Let's get back to this movie.
Oh, yeah, right. So, where the hell were we? Oh, in the well. There's water in the well.
And there's heads in the well. There's carcasses in the well.
They get it. There's herpes in the well. So they climb out and then they run back, and so now they've talked to the cop, and the cop on the mainland is like, "Look, you just stay there. I'm gonna get in my boat."
Right, because everyone's freaking out.
I'm gonna shoot me a flare up in the air.
Right.
And then you all come down to the dock as a group.
Right.
And they don't do any of these things.
No, of course not. I have a car accident. Is there a car accident in this movie?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, why did I write car accident down then?
Maybe you witnessed a car accident when you were driving drunk.
Yeah.
And
on the way
caused a car accident.
I don't think so.
He's at the hospital. The cop is at the hospital. So maybe there was a car accident?
Muffy, vague threat about being on an island, carries S&M gear around.
Oh, yeah, there's that stuff too.
Car accident, common thing. Lousy Chaz, stay together. My notes.
God. So now,
my notes are just breaking down as the movie goes on. Probably because I had too much to drink.
Can I take a look here? Where's the what's this part like? Spacey and shower.
And that drawing is really accurate.
That joke never gets old.
That joke never makes it into the broadcast because it's so late.
I don't know, man.
So, the cop was very clear. He said Muffy is fucking batshit insane. So what you guys are going to do is stay together.
Right.
And then I'll bring the boat over and shoot a flare in the air.
Right.
And you all come down as a group.
Well,
and so they're all freaking out. And then two of them, I noticed that they're in their pajamas.
Well, you might as well be comfortable.
Yeah, so Corey Hart and Pat Benatar are in their jammers already, and it's like, well, see you later, and they just go to bed. I guess we'll bone while we're waiting for the murderer to murder
why
us.
wouldn't you? Because they're horny teenagers, 27-year-old teenagers.
She's mad, and she's like, fuck this shit, and she starts packing. And so Corey Hart is like, hey, why don't we have S&M sex while you're terrified of dying?
Right.
And she's like, I'm packing my bag, and he puts on like this fucking this freaky
leather mask,
this gimp mask.
Where did he bring it with him? Was
stuff was planted in her room.
So whoever's orchestrating all this planted some weird S&M gear in this specific room.
All the rooms have something.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, how would they know that the person that's staying in the S&M room is into S&M?
I don't think that was the idea. I think the idea is it was a joke, like April Fools.
But why would he put it on then?
Because he's horny.
Well, the thing is, what kind of joke is that? Put some
it's an 80s joke.
Oh, okay.
What kind of a joke is a crying baby or a weird
newspaper clippings or
freaky newspaper clippings?
Well, the thing is, all that stuff adds up to something, but the S&M gear doesn't make any sense.
Well, anyways, whatever the case, Corey Hart puts on the gimp mask, and then they cut to the open window, and then she comes in and his hands are over his dick. And then I couldn't quite. Did he get stabbed in the dick?
Yes.
I was.
And that killed him, and he didn't scream.
I was thinking. I'm looking at my notes, and I think I was asleep at this point. So my notes are sketchy after this. All I have is
pages of.
I actually woke up and I wrote, "What the fuck was that? What happened?" Fell asleep. Watch again.
Jesus Christ!
So I don't know why I wrote it down, because this is basically the actions of what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I wrote them down.
It's like when you die and you write.
Yeah. Well, it's the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let's just get through this.
I also wrote down still boring.
It is. I have to admit, it is still boring at this point. In fact, this movie is remarkable in that it is.
And then there's one guy who has a violin bow as a weapon that he's going to take out the bad guy. He's got a violin bow.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, no, he's carrying around.
Maybe that was your dream.
Maybe.
Anyways, the weird thing with this movie is it's an hour and 28 minutes.
How do you get locked in the
movie's
closet?
An hour and 28 minutes long.
Right.
And I would say that an hour and 18 of this is boring. But then the last 10 minutes is so fun.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh, that was worth being bored for an hour and 18 minutes.
I don't know. Like, yeah.
Well, sort of. I don't know.
Anyways.
We'll get to it. So anyways, he gets stabbed in the dick. I thought for sure his dick would have been cut off.
Yeah, it could have been that either. You just basically, his hands are covering his groin.
Well,
she's making jokes about him being really horny. And when she moves, she suddenly realizes he's not responding to her question stuff. She moves his hands, and it either implies castration or stabbing in the groin.
Right. Well, the thing is, all of the killings and stabbings and groin decapitations, or whatever you want to call them, everything's not really shown. It's all off screen. It's all implied, and so we're led to believe that all these people have been killed in these horrible, not fashionable, but horrible ways, and then we get to the sort of the, what'd you call it, a reveal? I guess we should wait for Dylan to get back from the bathroom to talk about the reveal. Yeah. So yeah. Blah 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 blah.
Stabbed in the dick.
Well, how did that guy how did he get locked in the closet? This guy is locked in the closet.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet?
No, we're close though.
Oh.
So.
My memory is really sketchy on this movie.
So they're up in the attic and they find these creepy little dolls. That's a scene that I really liked.
Oh, right.
I thought that was a really good scene. And they start to realize, oh yeah, they go down. They see the flare and they go down to the dock and the boat is empty.
Are they all together though?
And they find a letter. I think at this point there's only two of them left. And they find a letter.
Midge and
the letter is from to the cop, addressed to the cop from Muffy's, or rather Buffy's psychiatrist, but it just says Ms. St. Clair.
Right.
And they have to go back into the house to get the keys to the motorboat. So they go back in and they crawl down through this is where the movie gets good. So then they go down through the window and they see on the wall. The whole time they thought that Muffy was just like. An only child, but then they realize
she's got
a fucking crazy twin who's presumably impersonating her.
Right. Well, then you don't know who is who.
Then you don't know who is who because they look on the
Buffy.
wall.
It's Buffy or is it Muffy?
And it's one of those.
Or Snuffy.
It's one of those. You know, when you have a kid and you go like, this is how
You
tall
keep
you
the
are.
measurement of the height.
The height. Yeah, that's right.
They see Muffy and Buffy.
Muffy and
listed
Buffy,
side by side.
and so the same
also,
height.
there's the photo earlier in the movie that the blonde-haired heroine, who's still alive at this point, sees.
Who's doing heroin? I don't remember heroin in this movie.
Anyways, okay, Dad. Anyways, so I'm also kind of wondering why are they doing that height thing down in the creepy basement, not like in the kitchen where most families do it.
Yeah, because they drag the kids in the basement. Wow, how tall are you now? Like Snuffy, whatever your name is.
Yeah,
Bluffy,
Mr. Snuffleuppy, whatever.
Snuffleuppy.
So, so they're like, and then they look over, and that creepy painting is down there. And they see eyes behind it, and then they take the painting
are
down.
the eyes moving back and forth again?
Nope, they're just not, but they're not blinking either.
Right.
And so they pull the painting down, and I think this is where he grabs the oboe fucking thing.
No, it's called a violin bow.
Whatever the fuck it is.
The
Anyways,
oboe, the oboe string, the oboe.
Whatever.
Yeah.
The string quartet. Whatever.
It's a violin bow,
and it's Muffy's dead body behind the painting,
right.
And her head falls off,
right?
And again,
right.
And again, they're like, that looks totally real. Let's run away.
Yeah.
And she holds it for a while too, like ah!
Yeah. Oh, Muffy.
And then and then you hear the window slam shut behind them in the basement, and nails driving into they can't get away.
Right.
So now the movie's getting pretty. I think it's getting pretty scary anyway, at least for 1986. And they run up the stairs. And so now Muffy is coming after him with a fucking huge ass machete
or a violin bow,
and Buddy gets locked in the
closet for some reason.
In the closet.
Yeah.
So now Muffy's like, "I'ma kill me some bitch," and she chases her through the house. And this is a scene this is a scene that I really, really clearly remember from when I was 11 years old, seeing this in theaters, because I was terrified in the theater. And there's that big table that they were having the dinner at, and it's one of those things where they're circling around the table, and and then Buffy jumps up on the table with that big fucking knife, and now she's fucked, and
you're fucked, lady.
Then she opens the door and runs into the living room, and she sees that. Anyone else want to say it?
Everyone's there.
Everyone is there.
And they're just hanging out, reading the newspaper.
Quietly.
Playing Scrabble.
Silently.
Yeah.
Quietly talking.
I think someone's masturbating.
Yep.
Yeah.
One guy's building a house of cards.
Yeah.
and
that guy's name is Kevin Spacey, and he's building it while he's in the shower.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Silently jerking off in the shower.
Stop doing the shower thing.
So, it's a good reveal that I think is ruined because nobody even looks at her. They're all just like reading magazines.
Which is weird.
It's really weird
because everyone should go surprise or April Fool's Day.
But I think they're gonna let Muffy do it. Like, and so Muffy's just kind of standing there with a coy look on her face, and then she's like, "Look, my knife."
Yeah,
she stabs into her hand.
It's a fake knife.
It's a fake knife. Oh, and we forgot that cowboy guy gets hanged. He's like
yeah, it's like a hog-tied. Yes, it ends hanging.
So.
But
and the whole thing was an April Fool's prank that Muffy played on all of them. Though it wasn't just against the two leads.
No,
it was everybody thought they were getting murdered, and then
so everyone thought they were getting murdered until they weren't murdered, and everyone was okay with that.
And everyone's like, "Oh, Muffy!
Oh, Muffy, you crazy!"
Well, basically,
Muffy.
She reveals that the house she's going to keep the house by doing murder mystery style weekends. With couples who go out.
But the whole thing was predisposed on inviting all her friends to the house, pretending to murder them and putting them in peril and terror,
and then going, "Don't tell anyone."
And then as soon as they realize they're not being murdered, they go hang out and play chess in the living room until everybody keeps showing up.
Pretty ridiculous.
Or maybe there's. I'm assuming that they all went and hung out in some other cottage somewhere.
Okay. So after that, after all this is done, and then Muffy or Buffy, whoever, whatever,
there was no Buffy.
Whatever,
Muffy was pretending to be both Buffy and Muffy.
She goes to her room. And
wait! No, but Buddy is still in the closet.
Oh, he's still in the closet.
And this is a funny bit because I remember in the theater everyone laughing because she explains the whole thing, Agatha Christie style, and then and then you've forgotten about the guy, and then you cuts to him in the closet. He's like, "I love you." He's screaming, "I love you" through the door, and then Johnny Eyeball is suddenly standing right next to him.
Who's Johnny Eyeball?
He's the guy who got crushed by the boat.
Right.
So like nobody died.
Yeah,
and then he takes off the eye and he slams it on his face and then lets him out of the closet and then he runs in.
What an asshole.
And then you know what? I really. And that's the ending, and then we have final bumper,
which is a weird fucking. I didn't understand. The thing is, I've fallen asleep for the last 20 minutes of this movie, and I woke up and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I actually wrote, "Fell asleep, watch again, still boring," and then made sense. Actually, I watched it again, but then the very ending Which makes less sense.
It did make sense, though, because so she's sitting there and she's got the Jack in the Box again.
Well, she comes back to her room,
and
they all party and celebrate the fact that this
and she's a little
rehearsal
drunk.
of her murder mystery.
She's drunk on champagne.
Yeah,
her murder mystery business plan rehearsal has gone well.
Which is
They're all drunk, and then afterwards... They're partying and like pouring beer down the fake dismembered heads' throats and stuff.
As one does.
And then she goes back to her room and finds that Jack in the Box waiting for her on the bed.
And of course she plinks it open, and it's the same Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
But then who is this other person?
Buffy.
But she doesn't look at.
But there is it's her twin sister.
But she doesn't look anything like her. It was like
it's her non-identical twin sister.
Yeah, it was someone like
blonde-haired woman.
Who was like 20 years older than she was.
I didn't understand.
And fake cut her throat, which is bizarre because she cut her throat and she's freaking out like her throat had been cut, but it wasn't.
Fake, yeah.
But how would you how would you not know your throat is not cut?
Dude, if it was a surprise and I snuck up on you in your house and I ran a fake,
we've done that before.
Yeah, and you knew.
I knew. I totally knew.
Yeah. You did it across his dick, though.
And you
were like, take that, Chaz.
You thanked me for it.
Yeah. Stop cutting my dick.
I thought, I didn't really get a good enough look at the woman, but I assumed it was like a sister in a blonde wig. And it turned out there actually was.
I don't know who that woman was.
I'm gonna peek at Wikipedia and see.
I think it was Buffy.
It
was either
pick at Wikipedia.
It was either Buffy or that older woman from the first scene, who I thought was the mother or whatever. Who's like, "Are you gonna have fun this weekend?"
Yeah, but even to be honest, it doesn't matter who it was. That last scene made no sense, and it did not add anything to the movie.
It was a last
unless she fucking killed her and cut her throat, then it would have been better.
Yeah, that probably would have been better.
Yeah, and instead of just I have a fake knife with a fake blood. Is there a beer left in the fridge?
Yes.
It says here it's a woman that she knew from acting class.
Which is what the fuck?
Which they didn't fucking tell anybody.
Is there any IPAs left, or is this?
We're down to pale ale, guys.
I'll take that.
Or a pilsner.
No, I got a pale ale. I'll go with that.
Check this out. Look, pale ale, pal al. Your pal al.
So, and then there's a joke where the one guy's like, "I shit my pants." And they all laugh at him.
Yeah.
Because it was Biff. Was it Biff?
And the ferryman noted that he had spoiled his
Don't
pants.
pay that guy.
Don't. Until he gets to the other side.
So they were like, he's like, I was hanging there with the snake and everything, and I thought you were going to murder me, and whatever. It's like, yeah, haha, and you shit your pants. And he's like, ooh. And they're all like, you shit your pants.
Because you thought you were going to be murdered by a snake and a person?
I'm like, whatever, a guy who was hanging there hogtied.
Yeah.
By the way, how the fuck did they do that body? I mean, the expense that must have gone into faking.
Well,
I genuinely love the twist in this movie. It's the thing that I remember from when I saw it in 1986. I was like, April Fool's Day is this really cool movie where you think it's a horror movie, but then at the end you realize that it's a comedy. Right. And I love that. Like I think it's such a great premise that was executed very badly.
Are we doing final destinations?
Yeah, we may as well.
Yeah.
I mean, because what else is there to talk about? There's no more story or anything.
Okay.
Although I will say the one thing
we think?
The one thing that I thought was interesting, a minor note, is for my pairings. He's gonna
Well,
stand.
are we
Have a
just
seat.
are we just jumping to pairings now?
Well, okay, no. I was thinking for my pairings that the Big Chill would be a really interesting pairing for this.
Actually, that's a really good pairing for this.
Yeah, there's death involved, and it's a bunch of rich
People
douchebags, right?
getting together on the weekend and talking about their feelings.
And so there's this fucking. I'm like, well, nah, the Big Chill doesn't quite work, but whatever.
Big
And
Chill's a
then,
great
and
movie.
then when they reveal, and when they're all dancing around, there's this fucking song playing called
Mama Told Me Not to Come by
Mama
Three Dog Night.
Yes,
Written by Randy Newman.
which is in the Big Chill.
Okay.
No, that movie.
Mama told me.
It's not on the soundtrack, but that movie is in the Big Chill as well. And I was like, see, this is weird. So which movie came out? So the Big Chill came out first.
Yes.
So it's almost like this movie was written as kind of a response to the Big
horror
Chill.
version of the Big Chill.
Yeah, exactly.
Ugh.
I think this movie has it's such a fun idea, and it actually is an April Fool's prank on the audience. And it's just too bad it's so boring.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. Like, I would not recommend this movie just for that fact, because I wanted it to be better than it was. You know, I when I was watching, because I totally forgot about the twist, and I was like, every time someone got killed, I was like, where's the fucking gore? Where's the nudity? Where's all the stuff I want in an 80s slasher film?
Yeah.
And there's none of that.
But that's kind of what's interesting about this movie.
But when you find out the big reveal, then it may all make sense.
It does make sense, and you're like,
okay.
But
at the same time, I didn't enjoy it because it should have been better than it would have.
Exactly. Like what I wrote down on my notes is that this is a movie that is more enjoyable when you remember it. But when you're watching it, you're kind of, bored or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't often say this, but, why don't they remake this one? There was a 2008 movie called April Fool's Day, but I don't know if it's a remake of this one.
I believe that it is.
The same premise?
Yeah, I don't. I have no idea.
I'd like to see it because I was like,
I have no idea.
was like, because this movie obviously influenced Scream. Like the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like,
but
Scream was basically just a better version of April Fool's Day.
But also, the game, when everything has to fall into place,
it's so ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like it's an insanely dangerous thing to do. Like all of a sudden, there's a snake biting people.
Yeah, but the snake.
They even explain that away. It
wasn't
intended.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if it's not intended or not.
Yeah.
They still put people in harm's way.
Yes.
To have this elaborate joke thing go on.
That's the thing.
This person could be like,
she's just
been in the face by a fucking snake.
She just like shrugs it off, and the only guy who seems even a little bit put out is the guy who'd been locked in the closet. Because he's just like, don't even fucking talk to me, or whatever.
Can you imagine how pissed off you would be to find out at the end of all this?
Yeah.
Oh, you think all your friends are dead, murdered horribly, your girlfriend's been butchered, and you walk into a room and everyone's like, joke's on you, motherfucker.
Yeah, or how about this? While I'm being chased by the crazy girl with a knife, I might just grab a fucking bottle of wine
and fucking
or
brain
something,
her, like a baseball
or a
bat.
rock, and murder her.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what is she gonna say? It's all a April Fool's Day.
As blood spurting out of her.
Oh, sorry, Your Honor. I thought she was murdering me.
Yeah.
Because there were fake dead bodies in the well.
It's so dumb. It's like the whole premise is so dumb.
No, but the whole
everything could have gone off the rails.
The premise is great. It's just it was. I think this movie could have done with like 5 or 6 more edits to the script.
And what's with the Jack in the Box?
I have no idea.
Like that has nothing. Did that send her down this path of weird, crazy holiday like experience?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I do know this though.
She was scarred by a prank done on her as a kid.
But so her reaction is to create a holiday experience for people that want to.
I know. I'm not saying it makes sense, but
there is one of the worst jump scares I've ever seen. Like. Jump scares are annoying because
the cat and the guy in the boathouse.
The cat wasn't it. The cat, it didn't scare me, but I was like, ugh. But I always am with the cat thing.
Because you don't like cats.
Well, that's why I love Brain
cats,
Candy so much. The kids in the whole movie, because they do the cat on the head. I always thought that was a reference to
all the cats on the ceiling.
Yeah,
I kind of love that movie. We have to do that for the podcast.
I haven't watched that movie in forever.
Anyways, no. There's a bit when it's like. The couple who survive are just figuring out what the fuck is going on. And I can't remember, he finds some bit of evidence or what. He's in the other room, and she stays in the one room, and she packs or something. And she leaves the room, and she's kind of freaked out, like, I've just seen a photo of the twins or whatever it was. And she sort of backs up, and she goes into the hallway, and then he comes out of the other room and goes, we have to get out of here. But it's not scary. Like, because usually with a jump scare, it'd be like, bah! But it just comes across as maybe a little bit startling. The
sort of jump scare was him coming in to say we have to get out of here?
Yeah.
Right.
But they didn't do... The way it was framed... And here's the thing, is this movie is not directed like a horror movie. This is a very badly directed movie.
Yes.
If this movie was... I kept thinking, what if John Carpenter had directed this?
Or what if John Sayles? Or...
No. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with John Sayles.
Well, I'm thinking of the director's name, John.
Okay.
What John Ford?
John Ford.
They probably have John Wayne in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or John... how about,
I watched that movie.
Or John Crick-Faluzzi.
Or did you ever say John Carpenter?
Yes. No. Okay. How about or Romero? What if somebody who knew horror?
John Romero.
You guys gonna fucking back me up on this? All I'm saying is this movie could have been really good if it had been directed by someone who knew the first fucking thing about horror. But it was directed like a TV movie.
I think that any three of us in this room could have possibly made a better movie than this.
That's true. But there is something good about April Fool's Day, though. And I would recommend it. Okay, so we'll get to whether or not you recommend it.
Let's do it right now. Dylan, would you recommend this movie?
Okay, well, does it hold up and would I recommend it? It's iffy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it does hold up.
Right.
But I'm not sure if I'd recommend it. If I did recommend it, the caveat would be you have to watch it straight all the way to the end.
Well, yeah.
Don't get drunk and fall asleep.
Dylan Reimer raves must watch this movie all the way to the end.
Never mind that. Nick just did he brought in a Cadillac Man.
You know he's not there. You're pointing at him. He's not there.
No, but on the new old stuff,
right.
We just got Cadillac Man, which is a very funny movie.
It's pretty good.
And I'm assuming it's Nick wrote, don't let the first 20 minutes fool you. This movie is like a really enjoyable, fun romp and all that, right? With great performances. And Nick's right, it is.
Yeah.
But a customer would be like, so I have to sit through 20 minutes of shit?
Just fast forward. Yeah.
He should just leave a funny romp, like leave a...
Yeah, don't be too specific.
Don't let the first... In this case, I'd say don't let the first hour and 18 minutes fool you. The last 10 minutes is great.
It's amazing.
I really want this movie to be better than it is because I think there's such an interesting idea at its core, and it just doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
So are we going to start doing pairings with our recommend? Because it's just faster for the sake of the edit.
What's your pairing?
My pairing, I had a few ideas.
Blade Runner?
Well, that's worse. You just blacked it out.
No, this is...
It's redacted.
Well, yeah, we're redacting our fucking...
I am.
This is like that. This is like in
I just want to mess with Nick.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Maybe just take the thing off the whole thing all together thing.
No.
Oh, God, you
Anyways, what's your pairing?
Is it too much to ask that we remain focused for 2
No,
hours? While
look who you're talking with here.
Anyways, so yes, I would recommend it with the caveat that I would say I can't tell you anything about the movie.
Don't watch the first hour and a half of this movie.
I wouldn't say that. It's just say like I would say this movie is going to seem a certain way until the end, and then like if you're looking for something that's like you can just sort of mindlessly watch it with someone while you make out. Not so much.
well, you can watch any like Schindler's List. You can watch anything as you're going to make out. It doesn't matter what's on the TV. That's a sign.
But some movies like the remake of The Fog, you can watch that while making out and not miss anything.
You can watch anything while making out. It doesn't matter
because you're making out. You sound like an expert in making out.
I'm a romantic.
I've been married for 40 years.
I love making out.
Who doesn't? Okay, so anyways, I'm going to try this again.
So
I would recommend this with the caveat that you should stick with it through to the end.
It's 2-for-1 Mondays on
and it's
the
2
Monday.
for 1 here at Black Dog Video.
What's your pairing?
So I thought the game, like you. That's right here, the game. And then I thought maybe Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Which is a great movie. Actually,
terrific movie.
Actually, I think that it's a way better movie than this is.
Oh, it is.
And I think that's a really good pairing. Actually.
Well, that's not my. I always cheat it by saying the things I consider.
You're turning to Alex now, and you're recommending 4 movies for 2 for 1.
I'm not. The movie I'm actually recommending is a 1980s murder comedy. With some twists and whatnot, I'm going to go with Clue. I think would be a perfect. Yeah, the Michael McKean.
Really, Michael McKean.
Everyone else.
Judi Dench and
I don't think
Sir John Gielgud.
I don't think.
And
Orson Welles.
Lawrence of
actually, I think Orson Welles is actually in it.
Errol Flynn.
Well, I was trying to think because this movie is the thing with April Fool's Day is it's really, really Agatha Christie-ish, and they even mention Agatha Christie earlier in the film because one character reads a lot of books.
They're trying too hard.
Whatever the case, I was like, well, what is a comedy murder movie that is Agatha Christie-ish? And Clue was the one I could think of. And also, Clue is just a really, really fucking great movie that I don't think gets nearly enough love.
Clue.
So, Alex, would you recommend it? And what would you pair it with?
I would recommend it. I had more fun than you guys watching this movie. I didn't like all the big reveal. I knew that there was like a gimmicky reveal. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. For some reason, I thought it had something to do with maybe Chaz filming a lot. Like, I thought it was some kind of weird, hey, we were just trying to make a movie the whole time. But anyway, sure. I would recommend it. I thought it was, it's fun. And if it were the 2-for-1 pairings, I would team it up with Shutter Island.
Oh!
The Scorsese movie?
Yeah.
Really?
That's
Why?
That's a very interesting
Why?
pairing.
Because that's another movie where they go to an island.
And everyone's crazy?
An investigation and then a weird reveal.
And there's a twist at the end.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, It made me think a bit of Shutter Island. I thought of Then There Were None as well by Agatha Christie. But then it seemed too obvious because they brought up Agatha Christie while I was thinking of it. But Shutter Island would be my pairing.
Oh, I will allow that.
Yeah. It's the only time I've heard Shutter Island recommended for any reason.
It's not a very good movie, but they would make a good pairing.
I'm gonna have to say I don't think I would recommend this movie. I was really disappointed actually with it. For me, just because the lack of violence and gore and nudity that I was expecting in a movie like this, and the big reveal was a bit of a letdown. I don't know. I know. For me, this movie didn't do it for me. I'm gonna go to mild thumbs down. If you could do the thumb thing.
Yeah. If you have palsy or something.
Yeah,
like
but if I'm gonna pair it with anything, I'm gonna pair it with a movie called The Burning, which is an actual really good go to an island and have a horrible time movie. It's really violent and gory, and I loved it. And that would be my pairing, just to sort of wash the bad taste out of your mouth because this movie wasn't.
That's how you make recommendations.
Yeah.
By the way, the most superior example though of this kind of film though is The Sting with Robert Redford and Paul Newman. Again, another movie where it's a big con on the audience.
I don't see any comparison.
No,
well, it's just because you think something's happening the whole time, but it's all an elaborate con.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying it's as good.
Well, that movie's called The Sting.
And it won Best Picture.
I know. It's a fucking.
It's no Green Book, but
it's an amazing film.
I'm not comparing the quality of the films, but I'm saying it's in that tradition.
Yeah, maybe
it's not a shining example.
It has that MacGuffin when you're like it's the same as the game. It's like they're leading you on, and the thing is, all those movies are so preposterous because everything has to happen
with the game. Yeah.
And, here's the thing I don't understand. Like, we're always going on about the Chekhov thing with the gun. You see a gun in the beginning. Then, like American Beauty, it starts with Kevin Spacey in the shower. Where's the Chekhov payoff?
It has to end with Kevin Spacey in your shower.
Chekhov payoff?
I bet if you ever invite us over to your house for some cheese and wine and whatever not, and if we ended up using your bathroom for whatever reason.
Yeah.
There's probably like a life-size cutout of Kevin Spacey in your shower.
No, Kevin Spacey himself.
He's actually there.
He's been
He's
hiding
actually
out
there.
the whole time.
So you
I'm harboring a fugitive.
So
yes.
do you actually pay him to hang out in your shower?
No, he pays me to hang out in the shower. He's trying to hide.
Wow. Well, how's that going to end? He's going to be
I
caught.
don't know. That's Chekhov.
It's a happy ending.
Anyways,
I'm just gonna sneak one more in there though.
Dylan's going to sneak one more Canadian wiener in there.
No.
Delicious
Have
Canadian wiener.
Have you ever seen Severance?
Yeah.
I think it's a Serbian movie. Maybe
no,
French?
it's a Canadian movie.
Severance is not. No. The one about the they all work in an office and they go on a retreat.
Yeah, so it's actually
that's not Canadian.
Canadian movie.
Are you sure? I thought it was Serbian.
I'm
Severance.
Pretty sure it's Canadian. Actually, it doesn't matter. But yeah,
Anyways,
I have seen that. It's really good.
Thing is, I haven't seen it in a really long time, but that was gonna be a pairing because that's one where it's like they all think they're going to like this retreat,
and then they get murdered.
Well, yeah, and they go to the wrong building. Like they're in the forest and like, oh, this is the worst retreat ever. It
so they go,
they
go to the murder building.
Yeah, they go to the murder building. And what's hilarious is after like 6 of them are dead, like the survivors are running through the forest, and then they run into the actual resort, and it's so luxurious and wonderful. Oh, I need to rewatch Severance. Actually,
it's actually a really good film.
I could have sworn it was Serbian.
No, well, you and your Serbs. No, it's actually a Canadian film.
There's a great bit in Severance. If that's the case, then it's probably my favorite Canadian film ever.
Rituals.
There's a great bit when they're arguing on the bus.
I've never seen it. We just got it. I want to watch that.
You should watch it.
I will.
I owned it on VHS. I still do.
Show off.
Hey, we're doing all right. We're under 2 hours anyway.
Well, there's a lot we can cut out of this fucking bullshit.
There's a great bit in Severance, though, where on the bus they're arguing about whether or not, how does anyone know that when a head gets chopped off, the brain still lives for like another 30 seconds?
Like a chicken.
And then the one guy who's like insisting that is the case does actually get decapitated. And the last thing he does is you just see him smile just a little bit. Like,
does his body run around?
No, the body drops dead, but it's like, does the brain still live?
Right. Speaking
Speaking of brains still living, we are still
ours
alive.
are marginally living.
Marginally.
Let's close this motherfucker down.
April Fool's Day. Happy April Fool's Day.
Yes,
everybody.
I hope everyone got fooled in a good way.
Yes.
Not in a way that in this movie portrayed where like you're invited to an island and everyone's killed in front of you for a stupid reason.
After sitting on whoopee cushions. So
yes.
first you're irritated and then you're terrified.
Yeah.
Irritated, then terrified. That's probably the best way to describe this movie. But
well, I wouldn't even say terrified. Just irritated would be my.
Alex liked it the most. I liked it the middle.
I didn't like it at all.
You didn't like it at all. So.
And by the way, saying I liked it the most, it wasn't like I liked it even a lot. I liked it.
You rubbed it all over your body.
I did.
We record this in the back dank, cold bowels of
a
if
scrotum
that even works,
like
of the frozen scrotum that is East
Froscro.
Raisin sack.
known as Black Dog Video here in East Vancouver on Commercial Drive at the corner of Charles?
Grant.
1470 Commercial Drive. And where's the other one?
3451 Canby Street, Canby, between 18th and 19th. We've been there for almost 25 years. Come by and see us and say hi, shake our hands, and
right across from the Park Theater.
Yeah, rent some movies.
Two locations.
Oh.
Anyways, is there anything? Website? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
We should really
subscribe to our newsletter. Come into Black Dog Video and sign up.
Yeah, we are open from noon until 10 every day, 11 on weekends.
I took a new subscription to that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and if you're a hipster, come on down, man.
Hipsters love this place.
Kids,
even if you're not a hipster.
Children, old people, and everyone in between loves coming into the video store. It's a good experience. Come on in and just come in and hang out, chat with us. You don't have to rent anything. I appreciate if you did, of course. Bring us booze.
Or even better. Come in and don't set up an account or even look at us or talk to us, and just you and your girlfriend can look at random videos for 45 minutes, maybe an hour and a half, and then just leave.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Without buying anything or even acknowledging our existence.
We
love that.
It's a great place to come on your first date.
We should put in a turnstile, and it costs like it is actually.
So we should charge just to come into the store.
Saying,
like that place used to be on Mr. Exotic World. Main Street.
I
We're
loved
new
Exotic World.
We're the new Exotic World.
I have some really good memories of Exotic World.
I went on 3 first dates to Exotic World. Oh my god, that place was a pussy magnet.
I was there on a date and even know it was a date.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it with me?
Might have been.
I loved Exotic World because when you would go in...
You didn't know it was a date because you're a square. Get it? Date square.
That's awful.
That's terrible.
No, they would always tell you the same story.
It's a terrible
and,
thing.
and
Joke.
You would go in, and they wouldn't accept any money. If you wanted to give them money, it was donate to the Heart and Liver Foundation or whatever.
Right, or whatever they were dying
whatever
from.
it was, some various organs.
Yeah.
But the guy would say, "Have you been here before?" And you'd say no or yes. And if you hadn't been there before, he'd tell you the story. And the story is that he and his wife, like way back when,
they didn't want to have children.
Yeah,
they
didn't want to
travel the world.
I said to my wife, "Do you want to travel the world or do you want to have children?" And she said, "I want to travel the world."
Although the thing is that those things aren't like exclusive. You can still travel the world and have it. I did.
Yeah, but you haven't traveled the way those motherfuckers traveled.
Yeah, but I could.
Yeah, but no, you couldn't.
I totally could.
I don't think so.
Well, I'm not going to the brothels.
Fucking Bourdain's got nothing on those old geezers at Exotic World.
Those Exotic World cats were awesome, and they had awesome stories and awesome photographs.
Your little trip to England compares with these guys?
I didn't go on a little trip to England. I traveled the fucking world for a year. With, So there you go.
Okay. Anyways, the Exotic World people are better than you. And on that,
I will give them that. Although they're probably dead. I think they're old people.
They're dead now.
And the thing is, Exotic World is it's not
and
even anymore,
they've been mummified and put up in their own museum.
Yeah, which is very very appropriate.
Exotic World is now Neptune Records on Main, but they have moved down to the right next to. Is it still Red Hot Video? Is that still there?
No, it's gone. That's long gone. It's like a bridal.
There's
shop
an antique shop.
So is the Exotic World still in existence?
It's in the back.
Is it still there?
It is. My nephew visited me in November
on a date. I've heard you're like you like dating your family. What?
He just called you inbred. You're just gonna take that?
Well, he's from Nova Scotia.
Punch that toque right off his head.
My nephew came for a visit.
Someone had to say it.
My nephew came for a visit in November. We were walking along Main Street, and I took him to the place where I believed Exotic World was. It's an antique store, and Exotic World is literally like a back wall about 3 feet wide.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, because it was...
I said, where's Exotic World? He said, back here, and I thought he meant like through a back entrance, but it's literally like a wall.
Because it used to be like a Neptune Records.
Yeah.
It was a whole shop.
Had you been there before, Alex?
I had been there before, but
when it was at
here's the thing. I moved here in 2003, and Neptune Records existed in that location.
Right.
Then.
Oh, then
so it was gone before.
Then you didn't see the actual Exotic World, which was like about the size of Black Dog, actually.
Yeah.
And it was full. I remember he had like these crazy, like giant dried bugs on the wall,
spiders and cockroaches and
like photos of people that think if you take their photo, you steal their soul,
and they're gonna murder you, and
like fucking they.
I heard about that.
And then right in the middle of it, Expo Ernie. Which always amazed me.
Well, it was always awesome because these people traveled back when travel is different, way different today. Like everyone's traveling, it's kind of garbage and bullshit now.
Yeah.
But these people have traveled the world when they were going to places where like a lot of Caucasian people had visited.
Yes.
And so they were.
We hadn't brought our superiority to
these
dark
we haven't
corners.
We hadn't destroyed.
It wasn't quite colonized yet.
Landscape that is the non-Christian world.
They were doing things that people hadn't done. Jesus Christ! Get these things away from me.
And they probably boned a lot too.
I don't know about that because they didn't have any kids.
Yeah, that's why they were boning. They still wanted to bone.
Yeah, but here's the thing:
he was shooting.
There was a whole separate museum for that, though.
If he's lucky,
there was a whole separate museum about their boning.
The Kevin Spacey Museum.
No.
It's all showers.
No.
No. It's all mirrors and showers.
There was a whole other museum for that. It was called Erotic World.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
And then there was one for like nebbishy Woody Allen fans called Neurotic World.
Yeah. And then for the drunks, you'd head over to Gin and Tonic World.
And then a place that Superman hates to go is Kryptonic World.
And my museum to my own sense of humor, Moronic World.
I have nothing to add to this ridiculous conversation.
I think that's the end. I think that's everything that rhymes with...
Onik?
The Black Dog After Dark podcast is recorded at Black Dog Video on Commercial Drive in Vancouver, Canada. It's presented by Alex Chisholm, Darren Gay, and Dylan Reimer. It is produced by Dylan Reimer and Darren Gay. Alex just kind of stands there and drinks beer. The intro and outro music was recorded by Tiger Burning Bright, composed by Jeff, who works at Jefferson's Barbershop, also on Commercial Drive. And he's a damn good hairstylist.